Ready? Whoa, whoa, whoa. No. My mic is hot. If you want to go and start the stream, you can. So it's going to replace whatever this JAPE 40 is. I don't know what that 1 minute is. I'm going to guess it's a PSA. There's a hum. Huh? Let the panic set in. Let the panic set in. Oh, yeah. Oh wait, we're already streaming. My bad. Hey, online family, how you doing? Justin Kazepis back. We are online on our video stream right now, getting ready for another in-house local show from the Cornelius Studio. We are excited. Today's Real Talk. So this is a show I've been doing for about a year now. That is on a couple of other stations. We are excited to bring it to WSIC now, focusing on North Carolina real estate, business, and life. We're just about 1 minute away.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at gawon'twait.com. That's gawon'twait.com.
Today's Real Talk. Today's Real Talk, WSIC News, on for a new show in the lineup. Justin Kazepis was with you this morning for Good Morning LKN, now with you for today's Real Talk, a show that focuses on North Carolina real estate, business, and life. It is, if you hadn't heard yet, the breaking news of the day. Besides a lot of other stories, the FCC has officially approved the transfer of license from Mark Sanger over to me, which is probably a scary thought for a lot of people. What's even more scary is today's a big day because we've launched our new lineup. So traditionally, right now, you would be listening to the Sean Hannity Show. But the Sean Hannity Show is no longer airing on WSIC. The in-house studio phone number here in the Cornelius studio today, which is also available in our Statesville studio, 844-STUDIO-4. That's the phone number if you want to call, chat, 844-STUDIO-4. I am a North Carolina real estate attorney. I'm a real estate broker here in North Carolina, and I am an active investor in real estate in North Carolina. I grew up in real estate. My dad was a real estate broker, and I had the opportunity to work alongside him. Short story for you. After attending Appalachian State University, I met a wonderful woman who is now my wife. She was willing to come back here home with me to the Lake Norman area. I stole her from Canton, North Carolina. Shout out to Canton. The paper mill has recently closed in Canton. Pretty significant source of jobs for that marketplace, the Canton paper mill. Funny, the first time I ever went up there, I was smelling the air. What's sweetie? What is that? That's the smell of money. That's the smell of money. And so that has now closed. So pretty big wave coming through that market right now. And so our thoughts, our prayers are with that community. Jobs. I've talked about jobs so many times and how important jobs are to a community. And there's all kinds of jobs. I don't think necessarily you want one type. Yeah, white collar, high paying, super high profile, executive, liaisons, fantastic. That's good. But there's a lot of other types of jobs, and there's no work is greater than any other. So you've got people in hospitality, right? How much do we like going out here throughout Statesville, Lake Norman, North Charlotte? How much do we like going out and hanging out with our families, our friends, all the different places that we go to work? Shout out to all the people in utility crews. Shout out to all the workers who keep the streets clean. Shout out to all the people that educate our children, our teachers. My wife's a teacher. Shout out to our law enforcement, emergency services, firefighters. Shout out to all the people that get it done and keep the community flowing. You're not forgotten. I can promise you that. But there is a lot happening in our area. There's a lot of things moving around. There's a lot of moving and shaking. Who's moving and shaking right now? Who's getting deals done? You see all these trucks, all these bulldozers, right? All these things happening on a daily basis. And what you've got is a lot of opportunity for some. I used a word as for the past couple of weeks. You may have heard the spot I was playing talking about change. It's kind of, look, to be honest with you, it's kind of on purpose, right? We as human beings, we don't like change. It's just natural. We don't like the ever-changing world we're living. We like the way things always were. Well, that's just the way things are done. For me, it's just always been a little against the grain, I guess I'll say, where, okay, I get what's going on right now, but what's the future? What do we do in the future? How do we keep in mind that change is going to come our way? Look, I'm going to blame you. You have made this community so great to live in that now everybody in the world wants to live here. So if you're older than me, I'm 33 years old. If you are older than me, it's your fault. And if you're younger than me, you can blame it on me because I want to keep that going. I want to make this the best possible community to live in. However, that's a team effort. There's no way that one person, one leader, one radio station can carry that weight on their back. Because community is a group of people coming together to make things better for each other. Now, here's the problem with it. We ain't all going to agree. We are going to have times of significant disagreement. There will be times where you may want to choose violence. And I'm not even talking about physical violence. Come on. I'm not talking about riots in the streets. Thank the Lord that I don't live in a place with riots in the streets, because I'd be moving. You wonder why people are leaving a lot of cities they're leaving, a lot of states they're leaving? Because the normal person doesn't want to put up with that. I don't want to put up with that. I got a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. You think I'm trying to put up with riots in the streets? No, absolutely not. But what I am trying to deal with are reasonable discussions about the changes that are happening. One of the things I think that happens what I've observed, I'll say, social media has changed a big dynamic in local communities. The power of a singular device to connect you with everyone without even having to be face-to-face, without having to write a letter, without having to have a TV, without having to have separate internet service, without even having to have really a home phone, you can communicate and engage with anyone in the world from a singular device that fits in your pocket. Heck, you can even do it from a singular device that fits on your wrist, right? I got one of these smartwatches. I'm pretty sure I can pull up all my social media apps right here on my smartwatch. And there's a lot of people that spend a lot of time doing that. Well, first off, go outside, touch some grass. That's what I'm going to tell you one. Take a breath. Drink water. Probably need to drink some water. It feels good. The sunshine feels good. Look, vitamin D for the skin. It's Kissed by the Sun. I'm pretty sure it's a song. Is that a song? I think it's a song. It should be if it's not. It could be. I think the question is, could you really prove me wrong on that? Is there a database that you could look and see is every song in the world? No, there's no song. There's never been a song written called that. I digress. Community is made up of a group of people, but what happens is social media has started to impact, and empower specific individuals who have hacked the algorithm, who know how to rally the troops, and know how to get people flustered. Call it gaslighting. Sometimes I gaslight. I gaslight at home sometimes. You know, my kid, like my son, we really love sword fighting together. He's like a ninja. He loves ninja stuff. He's like a little ninja. I'm going to get you, Daddy. I'm going to get you. I'm like, you're not going to get me because I'm going to get you first. That's gaslighting. I'm going to gaslight the situation a little bit. So for real estate, there's gaslighting. Oh, do you want a bunch of cars coming through and messing up your daily routine on your drive through the streets? Is that what you want? Because if this development comes, that's going to happen. Here's the reality. Again, I blame you. This is your fault. This is not my fault. This is your fault. If you're older than me, if you're older than 33 years old, if you were born before January 24th, 1990, this is your fault. People are moving here because the community is so great. You have done such a good job at making this community wonderful that now everybody else in the world wants to be here. And so whether the development is here, there is so much demand in our community right now for people to move to our area. Hey, shout out to 77 and 40 crews working right at that interchange. Y'all are crazy. I look back at it's like the old school pictures of people up on high rises, the Empire State Building, hanging off a ledge. And now they just got these vehicles all day long. You out your mind if you think I'm working on that. So shout out to my construction crews getting the infrastructure done. We all complain about, why can't they just put in more roads? Go work for a day doing that, and you tell me if you get it done in a day. That's what I want to know. How long does it really take? Well, you got to get out there and you got to see. But again, if you look at Statesville, the place is booming. Statesville, hey, residents of Statesville, you've done such a great job with the community. Now everybody wants to be there. You don't want people to be there? Act a fool. Stop living such a great life. Stop caring so much about your community. Now, we need help in every community. There are needs in every community. There are needs in every single community. And if you go more south, right? Culturally, I've learned the cultural difference between Statesville and the Lake Norman area. Statesville, you may not want to believe it, but you are Lake Norman as well. We're all part of the same family. Look at a map. There's little channels. There's stuff out there. And so we're all part of the same family. And then you get to the Southside Lake in the North Charlotte area. You can't go mention Charlotte to folks around here, though. You go mention in Charlotte, hey, where are you from? I'm from Charlotte. What? Don't do it. I'm trying to protect you at this point. That's what I would say. But again, if you live in any of these communities, if you're hearing my voice right now, it's your fault the reason all these people are coming, because you've made the community so great. And I'm not going anywhere. I grew up here. Unless y'all kick me out, but that's a different conversation. On the other side of the break, we're going to keep talking. We're going to look at some market data. We're going to talk about the stats. We're going to talk about the data as soon as we come back. Today's Real Talk. Coming in hot. Today's Real Talk, talking about North Carolina real estate, business, and life. Justin Kazepis, new owner of WSIC, as of today. It's just still a little weird saying that. Super grateful to Mark Sanger, who has just been amazing as part of the transition. It's been unreal the way that it has worked out, and today is a pretty wild day. I mean, God's timing is pretty crazy. The fact that this would happen today with the FCC official approval coming in. Your boy was just a GM this morning, and then this is what happened. So anyway, if you want to talk North Carolina real estate, business, or life, 844-STUDIO-4. Because there is more than just real estate and business. Don't get me wrong. Look, tomorrow's 4th of July. I'm going to be out on the lake at some point after the parade, the Stars and Stripes Parade on Main. I think I got the name right. It's either Stars and Stripes on Main Parade or Stars and Stripes Parade on Main. I may have even just said the same thing twice. I'm starting to confuse myself at this point, but that's okay. That's tomorrow in Mooresville. You're going to want to check it out. It's going to be a good time. It's the 150th anniversary of Mooresville. Also this year, the 150th anniversary of Huntersville. So they're the two long-standing old towns, I guess. Like they were friends. Like, hey, Huntersville, hey, Mooresville, how you doing? Oh, and then comes along Cornelius and Davidson, and maybe Statesville was here before. If there's a resident expert out there as far as what was going on 150 years ago, you want to educate me, I would be absolutely open to it. I think that would be awesome if anybody's got the historical facts on this. 844-STUDIO-4 is the new call-in line here, and so you can enjoy that anytime. Give us a call, 844-STUDIO-4. But what we want to talk about is some actual data, right? Because we get in the emotional side of real estate quite often. It's easy to get in the emotional state because, look, like you, I am not a fan of just driving down the road, the one-lane road of the town that we're in right now, and there just being bumper-to-bumper traffic all the way down, right? Like, that's not a good feeling. Now, I will say, thankfully, it's one road. It's not like at the end of the day, it's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. We can't even move, and we're not going to make it on time. Like, if you would have left, 2 minutes earlier, you would have made it on time. Like, that's the difference of the roads. Charlotte's a different conversation. But again, I don't want to bring hate. Look, I know Charlotte's different, but there's nothing wrong with Charlotte. Charlotte is part of the community. There's a big trickle-down effect of Charlotte into the northern Mecklenburg, southern Iredell, even northern Iredell, a huge trickle-down effect if you think about economics. It is a big, big deal what happens. So let's look at some of the stats. If you go to WSICnews.com now, we have completely revamped the website. So as a North Carolina real estate attorney, real estate broker, and an active investor in real estate, I thought it was crucial to add a significant component of real estate to the WSICnews.com website. And so what we've got on there now are some great real estate tools. In particular, just on the homepage on WSICnews.com, if you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see some market reports. So these are active up to the minute. I think it updates every 5 minutes. Accurate on-market data for real estate. And there's 3 main market reports that we're including on our homepage. We've got Mecklenburg County, Iredell County, and Lincoln County. Oh, Lincoln County, we're coming. We're coming because you're already thinking Lincoln County is gearing up for the wave that has hit a significant portion of Mecklenburg and Iredell County right now. The wave is going to come. It's already there in a lot of parts. There's developers itching to get into that community and that marketplace. But I want to start with Iredell County. I want to start with Iredell County for one main reason in particular, legacy. WSIC and the history of WSIC, 75 years on the radio. I'm going to be honest with you, didn't even know that when I met Mark Sanger. Didn't even know it, but the history that I've come to learn, shout out to our NASCAR family, all the drivers, all the teams, all the families out there that love NASCAR. We're with you. Cup Series going on here still at WSIC. But if I look at real estate in Iredell County, the average price of residential of the active listings. So there's on-market and off-market. On-market, the simplistic definition of an on-market property of real estate is it is listed with a real estate broker who has placed the marketing of the property in the designated multiple listing service, the MLS, in that particular region. So the MLS in our particular region that covers the entire area is Canopy. It's called Canopy Realtor Association and the Canopy MLS. It covers a significant amount of counties. It's growing. It's had different names over the years: Charlotte Regional, the Charlotte MLS. There's been different names. So Canopy MLS, which actually even covers some of South Carolina, is where all of the on-market data goes, in particular for our area. So right now, if I'm on WSICnews.com and I'm clicking on the Iredell County Market Report that's on the homepage, I can see there are 1,082 active residential listings right now in the marketplace. You know what the average price is? What do you think? If you had to guess right now, what do you think the average price is for a residential property in Iredell County right now? Let me hear from Bill. So Bill's behind the scenes, the producer. Bill, let me ask you, because I didn't tell you this stat before the show. So Bill, who's on the sticks right now, he's the producer behind the scenes. Bill, what do you think the average price is for an active residential property in Iredell County is right now?
I have no idea.
Throw out a number. Just take a guess. What do you think? Iredell County average active listing right now, how much you think it is?
$250,000.
250,000. You're on Talkback B right now, right, too?
Yeah.
Okay. 250. That's light, baby. $592,000.
Yowza!
$592,000 is the average price for a home in Iredell County right now. You out your mind if you think 5 years ago I was going to say that the average price is going to be $592,000. $592,000! Over $500,000. You want to buy property in Iredell County right now? Let me tell you what the average price is. $500,000. Just $500,000. Again, I blame you. If you're older than me, it's your fault why this is happening. Bill is like 10 days older than me. 4 days older than me. Something like that. 10, 15 days. It's January what, Bill? What's your birthday?
January 9th?
January 9th. See, Bill and I have been friends for like 15 years. I'm just a terrible friend that way. I'm not good with numbers or names and all that kind of stuff. Kind of funny being an attorney and being a broker and an investor, right? It's all about the numbers. 592,000. But again, if you're older than me, if you're older than 33 years old, it's your fault. You've made the community so great that the demand, this is how great the demand is. The demand is so great in Iredell County that people are willing to pay $500,000 to live in your community. That's pretty wild. And the other part of it that's pretty interesting is just the supply factor. There's a lot of building and construction going on. One of the things that we're all aware of, nobody is immune from this. Nobody is removed from this concept. Nobody has yet to figure it out. Prices of everything skyrocketed during COVID, right? There's supply and demand in real estate. There's supply and demand in food products, in supplies, in building materials. I'm going to take a sip of water. Excuse me, that was rude. There is a significant price increase given the shortage and the demand of everything that happened. And people are moving around. COVID was one of the events that people were willing to pick up and move and go somewhere else. Very few events like that occur. Very few events happen that a mass population shift occurs. And one of the states that people looked at because of the quality of life was North Carolina. And quality of life is multiple things. There's initial price. There's what can you do, close proximity to all kinds of attractions and destinations, international travel. You know, the Charlotte Airport international hub for American Airlines. Pretty convenient access down 16. If you're in Lincoln County and you're taking 16 straight in, shout out to my Center City folks who can just hit up right 16 straight shot. I mean, that's pretty good. Now, we want to get there faster. We don't want to be like New York. We don't want to be like LA. We don't want to be like Texas where you're sitting an hour or 2 hours in the car to travel. But again, demand is good. Demand is good depending on your life scenario. There is also a significant population that is concerned their taxes are going to go get so high and that they're on a fixed income and that they won't be able to afford their taxes and they're going to lose their house. I'll be honest with you, I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm not saying that that's not a potential. But you got to understand that there's a difference between your value of your property and what the tax rate is set by the municipality. So the county sets the value of your property. Let's say your property is worth $500,000. Okay, that's cool. But from your tax bill perspective, from what you will pay on your annual property tax bill, that becomes relevant with the local municipality and the county's tax rate. What they deem when they're looking at their budget, how much of your money are they wanting to spend? What is the rate that they set your tax rate to as part of your property tax bill? So that's your local leaders. That's your local leaders. That's your town commissioners. That's your county commissioners. That's not the federal government. That's not even really your state people. Now, state taxes are going to be a different conversation. We got plenty of state people. Check out the Power Hour during 11 o'clock here, 11 o'clock Monday through Friday here on WSIC. We got a slew of power folks. And we're going to talk to them. We're going to find out what's going on in North Carolina. But from a local level, there's a lot of control as it relates to real estate. So you got to engage. You got to find out who's running. You got to find out who's leading your community. Because they're making decisions for you, whether you accept it, believe it, or not. Coming back on the other side of the break. Plenty more North Carolina real estate business life. 844 Studio 4.
We're blessed at North Main Financial Group that most of our clients come to us by referral. When folks have a good experience with us, they share that good experience with their friends, family, and colleagues. In doing so, when we're sitting with folks then, we're looking at their financial plan and seeing if it aligns with their goals and their desires for what yet lies ahead, be it college, be it retirement, or be it estate planning. If that sounds of interest to you, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at northmainfinancial.com.
Listen to Those Weekend Golf Guys, Sunday afternoon at 4.
Today's Real Talk. We're back. WSIC 844 Studio 4. If you would like to call in, talk about North Carolina real estate, business, or life, maybe you got a question. Maybe you've got a situation occurring right now. Are you actively looking in the marketplace? Are you actively listing your home right now with a real estate broker? And you're wondering, is everything going okay? Or is the media, national media, right in that everything is going downhill? I might as well fire sale this thing, because if I don't, then I'm going to lose everything I got. Look, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is what you need to do. This is how I can quantifiably prove to you that everything is not going out the window. You're going to go over to WSICnews.com. You're just going to scroll down the homepage, and you're going to see 3 market reports that you can choose from in the middle of the show, in the middle of the page. Mecklenburg County, Iredell County, and Lincoln County. Now, I asked Bill the question before. Bill's the producer, running the board, running the sticks here, what he thought the average price was for an active residential piece of real estate in Iredell County, and he said $250,000. He was almost there. He was 50%. You were a little short, and that's okay. Now let's move on to Mecklenburg.
I like a deal.
He is deal hunting, people. Deal hunt. You see those signs. So before I sold my law firm, we were in with a lot of investors. We work with a lot of investors, and the We Buy Ugly Houses crew, like, they really do buy houses in cash. Like, they buy a lot of houses. So you see those random signs, though. You know what I mean? Like when you're driving off the highway, we'll buy your house for cash. Call 844-622-3547 and I'll buy your house. Not probably for all the best experience in the world, but there are some people, some investors out there who will buy cash. So, Bill, let me ask you, though. Let's go to Mecklenburg County. Okay, let's test you on Mecklenburg. Iredell County, okay, 570. I'm not going to go back to the page. Would it go to WSICnews.com, click the market report there for Iredell County. Now I'm on Mecklenburg County's report. Residential property, average active list price right now in Mecklenburg County.
I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to go 600. But I'm also just realizing throughout this conversation that I'm going to have to ask my boss for a raise. Almost instantly.
Well, I'm not actively out there selling real estate anymore. That's not what I do anymore, Bill. So I don't get to take part of the wonderful fruit that is taking place in our marketplace right now. You got the first number right. It's in the 6s. It's in the 6s, but it's 691 is the average list price in Mecklenburg County right now. 691,000.
Nice.
691,000. So all of this data, right? All of these numbers, all of these perspectives we're talking about lead to a different conversation. And this is where a lot of people are at. Do I buy or do I rent? And for a lot of people, you don't even have a choice. You don't even have a choice. Because there is no way, based on your job, your income, your debt, your credit worthiness, which is what every major lending institution looks at, will ever consider you to loan you money for a house. And it's not your fault. It's just the reality of the marketplace. And so this is that conversation when let's go back to the very first thing we talked about, the development that's happening in the community. The quality of life is so good. Take Birkdale, for instance, right? Owned by North American Properties. My law firm, before I sold it, was located in Birkdale. It was during the previous owner, and then when the new owner came in, it was right at that same transition for them as when I exited the law practice. Have you been through Birkdale recently? Have you seen how beautiful that complex is now at this point, and what North American Properties is doing to increase the value, not just from them monetarily, but for the community? Do you see all the stores going in? No, look, I used to go to North Lake all the time. You used to go to North Lake Mall. Actually, before that, it was Concord Mills. Before that, I think it was Eastland Mall. Was it Eastland Mall in South by UNCC that got blown over, condemned down, where because you couldn't go there on Thanksgiving because you get shot. I used to go to Eastland Mall to the ice skating rink and play hockey as a kid in like elementary school. And then we went to Concord Mills. And the whole thing with Concord Mills, I think it's a Simeon property. Is it Simeon or Simonini? Something. It's a 1 mile loop all the way around, right? So I'd go there on Saturday morning with my mom, and we'd be like walking. I was like 10, and we were just walking through the mall. That's what you do. You go to the mall. My aunt does that in Ohio too, by the way. We went up and visited. Like, I think I'm on vacation, and it's like, negative 14 degrees in Ohio, and my aunt wants to go to the mall at like 7 in the morning to walk around, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. And then you get outside, and it's like an instant box, right? So ice box. So Concord Mills, right? That was the hot mall. Got some issues going on there. Happy to discuss some of that stuff in the community. I think we're going to need to at some point, because there's some when I got kids, I got concerns. Anyway, North Lake Mall now starting to have a little bit of issues. I'm not picking fights. I'm not trying to say anything negative. Look, I'm not the management company. I don't have a vested interest in it. It's easy to throw rocks from the sidelines. But I'm going to be honest with you. When stores like Apple say, deuces, we don't want to be around people getting shot, you really got to start thinking, maybe we need to do something. Because then I start thinking to myself, should I bring my kids to the mall? We're not really big, like my wife and I, we're not like big in these open spaces, big crowds things anymore. Like, it's just like a little uncomfortable because look, I'm not saying I love the community we live in. Don't get me wrong. This is not like a plea. This is a real intimate conversation right now I'm having with you. Reality is the world has changed. So again, people want to feel safe. They want good quality of life. And again, with these prices going up, I blame you. You've made the community great. Let's keep it great. So we've got to maintain a balance. And so I think a majority of folks are okay with some level of growth because we need to keep up with what's going on. I don't think that there's a vast majority of people, the major majority of people that say, no more. I've gotten in the castle and I'm closing the door. NIMBY, not in my backyard. There are some, and I think social media, like we talked about earlier, has enhanced the volume of those people, their little loudness. Like me, I'm really loud. And so they have an amplified voice based on the digital space. But I think most people want reasonable growth. What does reasonable growth look like? Well, here's the problem. To determine what reasonable growth is, we've got to be willing to have a reasonable conversation. What are the types of properties that we want to see come into our community? Do we want more residential? Do we want commercial? Do we want mixed use? Do we want industrial? Do we want to see ginormous high-rises everywhere that take up itty-bitty tiny footprints so we can have all the beautiful, illustrious parks in the world that we could ever want? I think there's a good combination of that. I think there's a little bit of give and take. But to just say, nah, no matter what it is, don't bring it here. Don't do it. I'm already here. I don't think anybody else should be allowed. Here's my hot take of the day. You may think I've had a few. Here's my hot take of the day right here. If you don't want somebody on their property to be able to do something, go buy it. If you don't want your neighbor, the developer down the street, the developer in the town over, go buy the property. Because I believe in the rights of the property owner. America started with a singular concept of property rights. And that, to me, is a foundational principle. And it's not even just the lawyer in me. This is pre-lawyer. Remember, I was a broker before I was a lawyer. So my thought is, I paid for that. I think I want to do what I want to do on it, as long as it's not harming you. You may not like the colors. You may not like my facade. You may not like my exterior. But that's okay. It's still my property. So if you don't want your neighbor to do something, go buy it. We're coming back on the other side of the break. One more segment. Today's Real Talk. Keep it running, Bill. Give me a little bit more on that. Give me a little bit more. Bring that back up. We don't have to get rid of it that fast. Look, it's Monday, but it's a holiday. It's a holiday week. We're giving it a new try. We're giving it a new feeling. I'm excited for the next show that's coming on the air. See, if we were one of the people who were going to choose violence during 3 p.m., they're really going to probably choose it during 4 p.m., but at least it's not me that's going to be the host. We're going to have Joe Vagnone, local business now host, small business broker, expert advisor in the marketplace. Look, I've been able to sit down with Joe, and I've been able to talk business with him. I enjoy talking business. It's a fun thing to do. When you can get around some good people that understand business, understand certain principles of business, financials, management, workflow, all of the things that really make a business shine. Because it's easy to see the Apple commercials with the flashy lights and the colors and all that stuff we see as the facade on the outside. But the way that it runs is very important. So to have a local expert, a small business expert, local expert, is phenomenal. So I'm excited for his show here to be on Mondays at 4 o'clock now. He used to be Friday mornings. He would say, it's Friday morning. Your business matters. And so today, I don't know what the tagline is yet. I haven't even asked him that, but I'm sure he's got one prepared. And if he doesn't, then I'm making him a little nervous right now. But that's okay. That's okay. So Joe Vagnone coming up at 4 o'clock. We've got a couple of guests coming on for his show too. Bill Russell, Lake Norman Chamber president, is here to be a guest on Joe's show today. We're also going to have Joshua Doby of the North Main Financial Group. I think it's CFP. I'm going to ask him what that stands for. I feel like I should. A certified financial planner. I think it's a financial planner. It's got a registered trademark at the end of it, so you know it's like legit. If it's got a registered, it's like a realtor. It's not realtor, it's realtor. If you look at how realtor spelled, R-E-A-L-T-O-R, it's a realtor. So if someone say, if your broker comes up to you and says, I'm a realtor, you say, no, you're not, and get out of my house. Get out, because you're a realtor. That's what you are. Own it with pride. All right, so we were looking at the market. We were looking at the data. We were talking about the statistics. We started getting into the concept of purchasing versus renting based on income. Look, income is one of the number one factors that a lender looks at as far as the credit worthiness of a borrower. So you gotta get your income up if you want to reach into these marketplaces. If you're looking for a specific institutional level funding. And so when we think about the market and the jobs that are here, this is where that continued development comes. If you want a higher paying job, if you're looking to enter into a marketplace, you have your eyes dead set. I want to live in this community. I want to be a part of this community. I want my family to live in this community and go to this particular school. Schools are so important to families. Look, let's be honest. Schools drive marketplaces. There's a reason why people are so passionate about schools. It matters. Schools matter. And we're going to talk about leadership in schools. It's going to come up. It's just going to happen. Again, I'm not choosing hate on people. I'm not trying to hate on any leader. But if you think I'm just going to let you lead and not question some things, we just haven't met yet. And so I'm looking forward to the journey together. So schools matter in a marketplace, but jobs matter. Right? Where can you get a high enough paying job to afford the mortgage? Because most people are getting mortgages. Most people aren't paying cash for houses. Now, there's an X factor to that. I say that most people aren't paying cash for houses. A lot of people moving from New York, from Pittsburgh, from Connecticut, from Texas, from California, where property values are so much higher than North Carolina was in a pre-COVID market. And they're selling their properties for so much more, even in their marketplace, they are able, a lot of them, I don't know the exact percentage, I'm not going to give you an exact, I don't know, are coming into this marketplace here in North Carolina, and they are paying cash for these properties. And that's what really started happening through COVID, as these people were moving here from these places with cash in their pocket, throwing it down on the table, sight unseen, no due diligence period, close in 7 days. I'm taking it. And that's what had people so nervous. If you lived here already, you were like, whoa, everything's changing, everything's moving so fast. What's my tax rate going to be? Oh my gosh, I'm going to get kicked out of my house. On top of all of the social emotion going on. Let's not even, I've pretty much blocked it all out at this point. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like 2020 to 2022. I'm kind of like, can we just chalk it up to a loss and just keep going forward? That's pretty much where I'm at now. So if you're thinking about the values of properties and how they change, we got to wonder, okay, is it sustainable? Is what's happening in the market sustainable? Will the market go down? I will tell you the number, this is a fact. The number one wealth vehicle in the world is real estate. The number one vehicle for building generational wealth is real estate. There are specific tax codes that are written toward the game. If you own real estate, You can keep more money. See, this is a lesson I learned from somebody who's really rich. One time, I always like sitting down with people. I like hanging out with people that are smarter than me. I like hanging out with people that are smarter than me because there's always this relationship where I'm not afraid to ask a question. So if I sit down, I got to sit down with this really, really rich person one time. And I said, what's the secret? He says, the hardest part is not getting to a point of wealth. The hardest part is learning the game of wealth. Because it is a game. The IRS tax code is a game. We all want to get mad at the rich and say, they should pay their fair share. Pay their fair share. But are you blaming them because they learned how to play the game? Because I didn't write the rules. However, because somebody wrote some rules a particular way, you best believe I'm going to learn how to play the game and try to play it better than anybody else. There's an old school game, and Mark Sanger, now this is a funny thing of how we have a connection. Cash Flow. Robert Kiyosaki made a game back in the day, Cash Flow. Remember Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Right? That was the book he wrote, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then there was a game called Cash Flow. My dad, back in the day, bought the game Cash Flow for me. And so that was another connection point Mark Sanger and I had, which was really cool to be able to share that. My dad passed in 2017, so as far as all the investor and all the kind of real estate stuff and all that, right, it's just grown and blossomed, and then we just kind of, life is short. And so part of it, again, I emphasize is family. Some family we choose. Some family we don't. I chose my spouse. She chose me. Right? Should I say she chose me? I don't know what's better. Like, ladies, what's more? What's better chivalry? To say that we chose you or you chose us? What do ladies prefer in that? I want to be cognizant, respectful. Yeah, Bill's giving me the zipper lips right now. That's all. Yeah, so I'll ask Demi when I get home. Hey, babe, what's a better way to say this? But kids, right? We chose to try to have kids, and we have 2 beautiful children now. And I didn't choose their exact personality. I didn't choose the way that they, their DNA structure. And so there's certain family we choose and we don't choose. And then when you marry into family, right, you inherit the other family. You inherit the other side. But anyway, I'm getting deep into family right now. Family is a big part of why we choose to live where we live. People move across the world to be with their family. There are literally people that say, hey, I'm going to move to this other state I have never even been to, because my family is over there and I want to go be with them. And then they get here and they're like, I don't know about this. I mean, like, I'll see you guys at Thanksgiving. That's going to do, though. I'm not going to need to hang out with you guys every day. Again, I digress. It's a joke. It's a joke. So when I think about family and I think about the future, right, we've got to ask the question, is it going to go down? Look, again, jobs. It's going to be all about jobs. As long as jobs stay, it's hard for me to see, in particular, North Carolina getting hurt too bad. Now, our leadership is another X factor, right? Part of jobs are the decisions we make today and the policies we implement and put in place. If we start doing a bunch of crazy things that hinder these companies from coming in with jobs, then yeah, we're going to have some job loss. It's going to happen. There are macro things in the environment. I can't control what Saudi Arabia does with their oil. I can't control Russia and what they do right now. Again, that's a national game. Hang out with Todd Starnes from noon to 3 every day. You could talk national with him. He's a good guy to talk national with. But locally, what I'm focused on is what is my local leadership doing right now? Because the decisions they're making today have longer lasting effects than we could ever imagine. Even at church this weekend, it was about the power of the tongue and how far reaching our words go. Timely. So same for our leadership. The decisions our leaders make today are going to have lasting effects. I think at this generation, I think the next generation. Because here's the other thing I think that's going on. A generational shift is occurring right now. Shout out to all the boomers out there. Look, I'm not hating on boomers. I like boomers. I got a few in my family. But the boomers don't want to give up control because they don't trust anybody else. The boomers are holding on to a significant portion of wealth right now. And so they're waiting to see who's going to take the reins. Who's the next leaders in our country, in our communities. And we're seeing it play out before our very eyes right now. We're finding out what is the future, who's next, what are the next things that we're going to see play out, Are they going to be good? Are they going to be bad? Look, shoot or shoot, baby. Take your shot. You better back it up with logic. Don't be doing this crazy nonsense based on emotion. Certain things are emotional, but you got to tie it back to logic. There's got to be a reason. Justin Gazebis, today's Real Talk. I appreciate you hanging out with me. 844 Studio 4. Joe Vagnone's up next. Local Biz Now.
The new 1059 100.7